In this video, we will talk about creating a 3D extrusion from an active work path. So as we all know, that 3D extrusion feature in this 3D panel is nothing but creating a 3D layer out of a 2D object. So that is what we saw in our previous video, and we saw everything about the basics and like the material panel and stuffs about 3D panel. So in this, we are going to see about how to create a 3D layer from a custom structure which you are going to draw using the pen tool. And for this, we will be creating some custom structures like a ball, bowl, and kind of structures in this. So let's get into it. So the first step is to make sure that you have selected a layer in your layers palette down here, and with the selection, just press P or come over here and click on the pen tool, which will immediately open the pen tool in the menu, and make sure that here you have selected the path and not the shape. So now with my path option active, I'm just gonna draw a random shape. Suppose in this we will create a structure of a bowl, and for that I will just draw so as you can see guys, I'm just making a random selection, and here comes the trick. For example, I need a structure of a bowl now, but in this case we are not going to draw the complete entire structure. That is, we are not going to draw the complete entire bowl using our pen tool. We will just draw one edge selection, that is one particular selection edge of the bowl, and with our horizontal rotating tool we will just make it in a 360-degree rotation, wherein we will be getting the complete structure. So right now it might be confusing, but as I do it, you will get a clear idea. So as I said you, instead of drawing the complete entire structure that we want, here I'm just going to draw one particular edge of the bowl. So that's it guys. As you can see that I have just drawn one edge, that is the left edge of the bowl structure, and using this edge as your primary material, we are going to extrude a 3D layer out of this selection path. To do that, come over here to the layers palette and just select this 3D layer option. Either you can come over here and do that, or you can just come to the top menu, and out of the available menu, very next to the filter, you will see an option which says 3D. Click on it and a menu will pop down. In this, just come over here and select on this option which says new 3D extrusion from selected path. We don't need selected layer option here, but selected path, because we are going to extrude the object from our path this time and not from a complete layer. So either come over here and click on it, or you can just come to the layers palette and click on this 3D option, wherein a drop down menu will appear. In this, you will see something which says source guys. Click on this source, and again the same set of options that we saw in the top menu will appear here. Again the same thing, we don't need an entire layer, so we are going to skip this, and we are going to select this option which says work path, because we need to extrude from our path this time. Click on this and hit on create. Now you will see again the same graph kind of structure, and this time the difference is you can see that the structure is just the object that we have drawn right now. Coming over here, and if I twist this, you will see that it is nothing special right now, that is not at this particular moment. As you can see that the edges are very thick, which is nothing but extrusion depth. So it means that we have a lot of extrusion depth right now, which you can see in this properties menu, which is 548.62. And this extrusion depth in simple words is nothing but the thickness of our structure right now guys. So which is nothing but, as you can see clearly over here, our thickness, that is the edge thickness of our structure, is way too high, and which is nothing but this numerical value. And to a custom structure that we are going to create, we need to make sure that there is not even a single amount of extrusion depth to be there in our structure. because extrusion depth, that is when we have more thickness in our custom structure, it will definitely affect and collapse our structure at the time when we give it a 360-degree rotation. So keeping that in mind, we will make sure that our depthness is an absolute value of 0. And as you can see in the properties menu, I have just entered 0 and I will hit enter, and immediately you will see the difference over here in our work path. All the thickness is now gone. Our structure is now looking like a plain thread, meaning that we don't have any depthness in our structure now. So with this preset, just come over here in the properties menu to the top, and next to the star option, you will see a menu which says deform. Click on it and a whole lot of menu will appear. So in our previous video and previous concept, we saw about this in a bit detailed. So I don't think I need to explain this once again. But yeah, here the shape presets is nothing but you can choose like variety of options from the available menus over here. And right now you're not going to do that. Let it be in its original form. Just come over here and you will see something which says deformation axis. This deformation axis is nothing but you get to decide in which axis should your rotation be. And in this case, our axis must be the bottom right. So I'm just clicking on the point, which you can see clearly if you just look closer into this. So I'm just clicking on a point which is the extreme bottom right, and I want a rotation to happen in that path, in that diameter, I would say. So just come over to the below, and even here make sure that your extrusion depth is absolute 0, and no need to adjust anything in this twist and taper, as adjusting this will again collapse your structure. So just making sure that come over here and you will see an option which says horizontal angle. Now horizontal and vertical angle depends upon your structure and your angle. Now this horizontal and vertical angle like depends upon in which angle your structure is at present, and right now it is in horizontal angle, that is x-axis is in focus. So I'm gonna adjust this x-axis, and as I said you earlier, we are gonna make it 360. That is, making it 360 will create a complete rotation and it will fill a whole object. So I will change this value to 360 as I said earlier, because we are going to fill this thread and we are going to give it a shape. So giving it 360 will cover the entire object. So as I enter the value 360, you can find the difference in the main panel. And that's it. Click on enter and you can see that we have created a vase-like bowl over here. In the same ways, using this 3D extrusion menu and pen tool, once again we will create a glass structure. So the same step and same process, guys. Just hit on P and make sure that you have your path tool selected over here, and I will make paths now. So as you can see that I have created the left edge of the glass again, and with this once more we are going to create a 3D extrusion. So as I said you earlier, just come over here to the 3D panel and make sure that your work path is selected. Just create the 3D extrusion, and there it is. You can see that once again we have created the edge surface of our glass, and the same step again. Just make sure that you don't have any extrusion depth, as in this case also you can see that we have a number of thickness and we don't want that in our structure. And why I am saying you continuously not to do or not to create any structure with extrusion depth is because I will just show you. Come to the deform menu here, and now we have our extrusion depth in 586.56. We are not going to make it 0 this time. And just to show you, with the same amount of settings, I will create a 360-degree. And you can find the difference clearly now. Like, here's why I said you not to create a structure with extrusion depth. So as you can see that we have our horizontal axis as 360 now. We are clearly getting a structure of a glass, but still, because of the value of 586.56 amount of depthness, we can see the amount of thickness that we have in our structure. And very simple, just come over here to the extrusion depth and make sure to hit 0 and enter, and that's it. You can clearly now look at the difference before how it was and now how it is. In our previous segment, we saw about creating 3D structures from pen tool, that is the work path. So not only from pen tool guys, but even from rectangular marquee tool or elliptical marquee tool, and also from rectangle tool, ellipse tool. So from all such kind of tools, we can create 3D structures. So here, very quickly, I have my ellipse tool selected, and make sure that again you have the option of path selected, and I'll just create a ellipse here. So as you can see that I have created an ellipse, and coming over here to the 3D palette, again make sure that in your source you have the same option of work path selected, and I'm going to create a 3D extrusion out of it. And here we are. As I just hit on enter, and you can see that we have created a 3D extrusion option from this. And I'm going to create a ball structure, as I said you in the very beginning, from this. To do that, make sure that once again our extrusion depth is in 0 and hit on enter. And right now what I have is a very thin sheet of metal structure. So this is nothing but a very thin sheet right now. And using this, we will create a ball structure. The same process and same step once again guys, and come to the deformation axis over here, and this time I'm going to make sure that my axis will be in the bottom and center that is center bottom point, because we are going to extrude from the center bottom axis here. So come over to the horizontal angle, and as usual we will be giving it a 360-degree bend, and hit on enter. And as I did that, you can see that we have got a nice structure of a ball here. And once after creating your custom structure, in order to bring it to your normal layer, just come to the layers here and make sure to create a solid background color. So I'm going to create a white color background wherein I'll be placing my ball structure. Just click on enter, and as you can see that we have a solid background here. And here it is. I just created a solid background, and I make sure that my solid background is below my layer in the layers palette. And now using your selection tool, you can just move it freely and place it wherever you want in your design. So this was all about using custom structures.